Yeah, it's
Just
hilarious.
gotta do something about that, man.
It's like Jason
Come
Momoa and
on.
Wabi had a kid.
Yeah, I
Oh
literally thought it
man.
was Jason Momoa, dude.
All right, I think we're
I thought we had a new
live.
person.
Yeah, I think
Oh, we're live?
Oh,
I
we're
think we're
live.
live, man.
Oh, awesome, man. Let's go ahead and get started, guys. Good morning. Welcome to, on a more formal note, good morning and welcome to today's episode of Market Check. I am Tommy. You guys also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Max, who is now back from, we won't call it a
No,
vacation
no,
because I don't.
maternity leave. I was on maternity leave.
Maternity leave. Who is now back with us. We're super excited to talk markets with him again, joined by Will's Outlook as well as Tucker. Yeah, I guess this is the turn of the week, hump day, Wednesday, whatever terminology you want to use. You know, markets sometimes use Wednesdays as a bit of a pivot as well. We have some, I feel like some fairly interesting developments in the market overnight, I would say, especially, looking at crypto and not just the way that altcoins have behaved, but also some news that we got this morning that I definitely want to talk about more in depth on this show. As far as altcoins go, a lot of these things down 3, 4, 5, 6% today. Bitcoin down only 1%. I mean, vice versa for ETH. But yeah, I mean, right now it's the Bitcoin dominance case is still alive and well, at least in the short term, right? There's not really anything encouraging significant rotation into altcoins at this moment, but that won't stop us from trying to allocate to them nonetheless to try and catch, the one that does end up outperforming. And there are a few, there are a few alts that are actually still green. Looking at my watch list, which is pretty insane, but it is still Bitcoin season right now. And what is Bitcoin doing? I mean, Bitcoin is just chopping. It's going sideways. It's hanging out above range highs, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's giving alts the green light to just willingly speculate. I guess I had just had an alarm go off. Yeah, as far as equities go, I mean, choppy as well. We are a little bit stronger in equities, obviously, with, ES yesterday, I think pumped like maybe 1%. It's up today as well. Saw on Twitter they might be bidding, mega tech large cap stocks to end the month, some window dressing, maybe the case. I mean, I personally don't have any. I feel like I don't have too much edge trading equities right now. It's very much. I feel like we're going to start to shift back to the macro based and in picture of importance as far as equities go in a not so distant future. But I'm not going to predict when that turning point is. What I did want to bring up to you guys first and foremost as well, or maybe I just save it for after we all give some opening thoughts, but I will go ahead and post the thought here. But I am not super pleased by the idea that Michael Saylor was the one who was buying all the Bitcoin last week on Coinbase. I think from a contextual standpoint, it's a huge shift in as far as like what we thought or who we thought could potentially be buying these tokens, right? I mean, last Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday, there was a premium on Coinbase or a premium on funding created through the Coinbase, spot pressure, which incentivized Binance and other perps to continue longing. And voila, we got, almost 32K. But at the time we thought it was, maybe institutions trying to, front run BlackRock, trying to front run some of their counterparties. That has not been the case. If it was Michael Saylor buying and those TradFi institutions still have not bought, I would say that's probably not a great sign. And part of me does wonder, like, if Michael Saylor is buying all those Bitcoins, who's selling? It's not just shorts, because those shorts became forced buyers. I can tell you, I mean, there were definitely the rumors that CZ, was selling plenty of Bitcoin to prop up BNB a few weeks ago. He denied it. I can't say I, put too much faith in his word. I don't really put too much faith in anybody's word in crypto, quite frankly, let alone somebody who is basically the last, titan standing before it seems like a total TradFi takeover on crypto. So I have no doubt that CZ will probably do whatever he can, even though eventually he's going to probably be forced to resign. He will try to save Binance and preserve the valuation of BNB. Best case, we hope he's preserving the value of BNB for his legacy. Worst case, he's preserving the value of BNB because there are a lot of under collateralized loans, maybe to the same degree of FTX. We absolutely have to hope that's not the case, though. That would set us back pretty far if that were the case. And yeah, no, I mean, I can't say enough negative things about how bad that would be. But that's enough for my opening thoughts. I don't love the development with Michael Saylor at all. It's not, necessarily a trigger. Some people I know will just like auto short when they hear Michael Saylor's buying. I don't operate that way personally, but it definitely does take away a little bit of the credibility of the strength that we thought last week's move had, at least in my opinion. But those are my opening thoughts of the market. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Max, welcome back, Max. Tell us a little about your experience as a dad, and yeah, what are you seeing in the markets, man?
Yeah, guys, happy to be back. Thanks for steering the ship while I was gone, guys. You guys did a great job. Just fantastic. So thanks to you guys. And yeah, man, being a dad it's awesome. If you have the opportunity to be a dad for yourself one day, you guys that I'm speaking with and everybody listening, it's a pretty life changing and perspective shifting experience to have happen. And yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm definitely a little bit tired right now. I'm not sleeping as much as I normally do, but absolutely worth it. I would do anything for that little guy. So his name is Little Satoshi, and I love him. I'm just kidding. His name is not Little Satoshi, but anyways, yeah, Tommy, I totally agree with you, man. Look, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin here. I still think that my base case is higher. Especially, I mean, given this morning, I was watching a lot of people like aggressively trying to short or sell into local range lows as Bitcoin was hanging out back around 30K and ETH was around 1850. Um, and to me, equities look decent. Equities look like they were, pulling back after an explosive move yesterday. And I knew that if equities could put in that bounce on the lower time frames, after a gap down overnight, and crypto's hanging out at range lows locally, I don't think crypto is going to break down here. My base case is truly a little bit more ranging and chopping before higher. I just don't think we're going to necessarily break down here. But here, look, the one asterisk is Michael Saylor bought again. And I'll say this, it's rare to see when the announcement of his entry come out, it's rare to see him be in profit. Usually when it's announced, he's already like $1,000 or $2,000 per Bitcoin below, well, I guess at a loss technically. So look, I in the short term, I don't think it's very actionable for me. I'm not looking at that going, okay, like, we're, at 30.4 and Michael Saylor bought at 28 and change, time to short Bitcoin. It doesn't necessarily work like that for me, but the unfortunate reality, Tommy already highlighted it, is that there was this narrative attached to the recent pump of, okay, all these major, multi-trillion dollar institutions are now, panicking, you know, panicking to file for a spot ETF, and they're tripping over each other to try to get through that door first. And, this is large money that, is going to accumulate before, we have these on ramps available for additional hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars of capital to flow into Bitcoin. And, this is the start of a new bull market catalyzed by a spot ETF and institutions that once sort of shit on Bitcoin now getting on board. Well, in fact, it was just another narrative, just like it always is. Another, FOMO narrative issued by CT and sort of mainstream media, because that's really what they do is they make you feel like you're about to truly miss out on the move, the one that sends us up 100% overnight. It's the FOMO, your fear of missing out. And if the institutions are now getting in, you're going to miss out. But really, it was just Michael Saylor max bidding Bitcoin on Coinbase again and probably doing a sloppy TWAP. So look, short term, I don't think it's actionable. Okay. I still have plenty of long exposure across the board. I've been sharing that with our Discord. They know my positioning. They know all of my entries, all of my planned exits in the future. I'm overwhelmingly long right now with decent size. But I don't enjoy seeing Michael Saylor announcing sort of like at the potential local extremity that he's just bought a bunch of Bitcoin. Because historically speaking, it's not anything against Saylor. He has been exit liquidity in the past. And he has been a bit of a sell signal because he hasn't been that selective with his buys. His understanding of Bitcoin is greater than anybody's that I've ever listened to. I've listened to, I mean, dozens of hours of his content. I think he's brilliant. I think he's one of the smartest people that I've ever listened to and learned from, but he's not a great trader. Okay. But if you are a multi deca billionaire and you have access to cheap liquidity in the billions, then I suppose you can take that risk and you don't have to necessarily be as selective as somebody like myself, who is unfortunately not a deca billionaire. So, again, does it matter in the short term? No. But again, Saylor buying Bitcoin above 28K, not the most encouraging thing, I think, for the bulls. I think during the bull market at the right time, Saylor buying was a cool headline. It drove hype, but people began to, I mean, look, he's taken on this identity, unfortunately, and I love Saylor. So, Michael Saylor, if you ever see this, I'm sorry. I'm a big fan. I'm rooting for you, absolutely. But Michael Saylor has taken on this sort of accidental identity um, of sort of like the giga whale fade. I mean, he is the liquidity, you know? He has access to institutional liquidity at very cheap interest rates, and he's also the CEO of a multi-billion dollar publicly traded corporation, and he's just very sloppily throwing money at Bitcoin, which in these conditions, it's very thin order books. It's very, very thin books. So unfortunately, Michael Saylor is the liquidity, and I don't like seeing the liquidity coming in at a potential local extreme. So again, I'm still long and strong. I'm still levered up. I'm still thinking we can move higher. I just don't love to see it. I think it to me it screams that this is not going to necessarily be as prolonged of a sustained rally as the most bullish people out there think that it could be. And that doesn't mean, again, that doesn't mean that Will's outlook is wrong and we could still go to 35K. But I think all of these people that are like euphoric, thinking like this is the new institutional driven, spot ETF, Fidelity, BlackRock, Schwab, whatever bull market. I don't think that narrative is here. Again, I think it's the same as every other narrative, that was attached to Bitcoin during the bull market. It's like you see all these tweets and it's like all these on-chain guys saying like, look, like wallets holding, more than a million Bitcoin is straight up and, price is lagging and like, institutions are buying and the amount of Bitcoin or ETH on exchanges just hit all-time lows and like somebody big's accumulating. And it's like, look, guys, the harsh reality is this market is dictated and will likely always be dictated by traders and whales. You can attach whatever narrative you want to it, and maybe as it matures, things smooth out a little bit. But especially right now with how thin the books are, this is a market dictated by traders. They draw diagonal lines and they happen to work. All right. So, anyways, long-winded way to say, still long and strong, but still being cautious. But yeah, I mean, I think mid 30s could come still, and I'm positioned for something like that. I'm positioned from lower, but yeah, I mean, certainly I think it's possible. But anyways, Tommy, I'll kick it back to you. We'll get some thoughts from everybody, but happy to be here.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, no, I do agree that like from a supply and demand standpoint, my my view has kind of completely shifted as far as what ignited this move. And now I'm asking myself, okay, do we have enough, leveraged FOMO that can push us towards some of these upper price bound targets? But I'm going to pass it over to Will's outlook. Will, I definitely want to get your thoughts kind of on what you think about, the Saylor news that we got today, how price is moving, and then what you're seeing in the markets.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue that Sailor typically, he's the top if not close to the top, when his announcements are typically made. It's very interesting because you never hear about the sales till you're about 50% down in your position, and you're like, oh yeah, Michael Saylor sold 2 weeks ago. You know, it seems like an atypical move from the market to try and announce these things. I would say, arguably, in a lot of ways, like, try not to out other media places, but there are media places I would arguably say that are kind of paid for in the background to print a certain type of picture during certain points in the market, right? And I feel like a lot of people ignore that and they don't realize that these marketers, unlike us, we tend to try and be as transparent as possible. But they come out and they announce things at Pico tops and announce things at Pico bottoms, right? Creating sell positions for the lows so the market makers can get entries, and buy positions for the high, or sorry, buy positions for the highs so market makers can create exit liquidity. And when I say buy and sell in that aspect, I'm talking about retail, whereas that would be the opposite if we were discussing market makers. I'm still in the camp of the 35K scenario. And the reason I'm in that camp is because everybody that I can see, at least on CT Twitter and across the board, I would say arguably even through leverage, is either extremely short here or extremely long. So what I mean by that is every Super Bowl that I'm seeing bid is talking 40K plus. Every super bear is saying right here is the top. And so you got that split where that middle ground would be that best place to come in and wipe this market out, right? To push against the bear narrative, and then the bulls continue to hope for higher, and then completely reverse in the middle of the move back down to the lows of the 20K range. And I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but like I've always been a realist. If anybody's followed me or paid attention to me for a long time, my real followers, not the people that I've picked up probably in the past 6 months, but I've had people follow me since 2021. And I'll tell you, like, if you ask anybody who's been following me since 2021, they'll tell you I called nearly the top. I'm not going to say I called the top, right? And it's just based off of what was going on in the chart. I called nearly the reversal, the bottom before we double topped. I even discussed the double top when we were at the first top as a theory in the way that we were moving in the market with the rounding position at the high. I was like, okay, we're rounding here. We could see a double top position if we aren't able to complete our full move, Pico top to top of rainbow. And then this is something I discussed with Kush too on one of the spaces when I talked to him, and I was like, Kush, because he not argued, but he discussed or theorized the point that we never reached our Pico high. And I was like, yeah, Kush. I was like, you're right. I'm like, we didn't reach our Pico high, so we didn't get the blow off top, arguably, right? But I would say, and then I discussed with him and I threw out the theory, but what if you took the double top and stacked it on top of each other? Would you not have reached Pico high? And arguably, I would say if you were to take the chart of Bitcoin, I don't know if you want to pull that up there, Haggard, and basically take the second top and just stack it on top of the first top, and then pull up the Bitcoin rainbow and tell me if we didn't reach the top, right? Exit liquidity doesn't have to happen or at least a blow off top doesn't have to happen in a manner of just up and then straight down. It can happen in a manner of up, pull back, up again, and then pull back. And you can still get the same result of the blow off top, just in a different way. And this is the whole point of pattern watching and pattern identifying that a lot of people don't understand, is that patterns don't have to play the same way. When we discuss it, we always say, always, any trader will tell you, history never repeats, but it rhymes, right? It rhymes as in we got the same liquidity push regardless of whether we fell down and double topped or we blew off top. So if you could do a bars pattern from that second portion there, Haggard, and just stack that right on top of the other portion.
This to this.
So from the low to the high on the second peak. Yep, right in there.
Stack it where here?
No. So you didn't need to expand it, but yeah, you were to stack it there. Yeah. So arguably, if you were to stack
120.
those two, you got your blow off top, and in reality, you got an extended blow off top, right? You hit that high range zone where you should have been. You double tap the high range there, and that's where you are. Again, some people will accept that as a theory, some people won't, but that's the way I see the market. I look at the market as always doing the same thing, just in different ways, right? It just does it different ways. And that's why I've tended to do so well, is because I'm so open-minded to the market changing the way it does things, but always giving the same results, right? When it comes to exit liquidity and creating these impulse moves, impulsive markets. 2021 was the most impulsive market I've ever seen. All right. And I'm telling you that from any aspect. And maybe, yeah, I'm not 70 years old, but I'm nearly 40. I was like, I've seen a lot of markets. All right. I've seen a lot of markets. And I'm telling you, like, it was the most euphoric market I've ever seen. I'm a millennial, so I've seen the tech boom. I'm not a denier of tech. I came from an era where there were no cell phones to everybody has cell phones.
Will, are you part
Right?
of the tech QAnon? You're a denier of tech?
No, I'm definitely not. Look, I'll tell you this. So in my field, I'll tell you guys kind of like what I've done a good chunk of my life is I did like what they call BIM, so building information modeling, which deals with basically coding and so on and so forth, also, and a lot of other things. In my field, or at least for the first portion of my work, every boss I had for the first 2 or 3 jobs denied that we would move into an era of 3D, denied we would move into an era of VR, AR. And I left those companies and I moved forward. And, I got into better companies, and I got into companies that were willing to do that. Well, in my field now, everybody utilizes that, right? Everybody utilizes that. And you've got a lot of smart people in the space. We've got doctors, we've got engineers, we've got lawyers, and all these people are traders in Twitter, right? And some of them are smart, some of them think they're smart, arguably, but I would say there's a lot of smart individuals out there that understand these markets and are not willing to share that information with others because they're making money. If somebody's sitting there and openly sharing information for you, and they're not a media company or they're an individual, arguably, there's a good percentage chance that they may not really be a trader. They may just be here for attention. Yeah, the markets themselves are a tricky thing. It's something that took me a while to kind of, I wouldn't even say it took me a while, really, because I'm more of a realist. I'm not one to sit there and get played into hopium, because I don't need hopium, right? I understand that people that have that don't have money, they get in these positions where they want to hear a certain thing, and I don't know if it's fantasy, but they think if everybody repeats the same thing, it'll happen, right? If everybody says 100K in 2021, it'll happen. You be the judge. Did 100K happen in 2021 when everybody was saying 100K? Did a super cycle happen when everybody was saying a super cycle in 2021? Neither of those happen. And then you get these people that come back after they claimed all these things, and they say, well, it wasn't that time, it'll be this time, right? And then you get the next cycle and it plays the same way, and they'll say, well, it wasn't this time, it'll be the next time. And then they'll say the same thing again, and people will continue to build and follow those people and continue to follow them, even though they continue to say these same things over and over and over again, but yet they never play out. If you come into the market with too much expectation, you're going to be highly disappointed, right? You're going to be exit liquidity at the end of the day. If you come into the market with realistic expectations, you'll make money. That's just how these markets work. And that's why I did so well in 2021, because even though we were max peak FOMO, right? And when I talk max peak FOMO, and this is what a lot of people this cycle are not understanding. We're talking 0% interest rates, right? 0, not 5, like we are right now, and printing of money, not just in the form of helping businesses, but giving people free money. People, individuals, retail, giving retail free money, which are going to go buy sneakers and invest in crypto and buy super high beta plays and throw away all that money that they got away for free. That's not happening right now. That is not happening right now. What is happening right now is accumulation through bigger whales, through bigger institutions. And that accumulation can last for a long time. Why? Because most retail that sits on here on Twitter and talks, they're probably all broke. I'm just going to be real. A lot of those people on Twitter are probably zeroed out already.
Dang, Will woke up and
they're
chose
telling you
violence today.
something. I'm just being real. Like most of them are probably zeroed out. I don't disclose my net worth. I don't disclose the exact trades that I'm doing most of the time because I don't want people sitting there following me because of the size I use or the things that I do, right? I don't want to sit there and FOMO people into positions. I want people to have realistic expectations. But it is what it is. Again, I think as far as markets go, and that was a little bit of a rant, but as far as markets go, I think Bitcoin up before down. Lots of fun in the NFT markets. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I'm not going to talk any specific projects, but buying some things that are massively flooded. I think floor sweeping is okay in some areas right now. And then, in others, I think there needs to be caution, right? Caution for downside. Yeah, I mean, what's your opinion, I guess, right now on the market right now, Hagrid?
Yeah, I was gonna talk about with Bitcoin, just what I was drawing up before we came on the stream, like of why I think we dump into before the halving. And Max has written some premium articles about the potential minor capitulation, and I really would wonder what that would do to something like my boy Hut, which just looks beautiful right now. I mean, come on.
That does look
You're almost
absolutely
Pico
insane.
top, man.
Look at that. Look at that.
How much more you got? Another $1?
Yeah.
Before you reach
we're gonna run some lick right here. Get a quick 2x. No, but I mean, like, look, in general, right? It's not a bad idea to buy when you're in the green band. I'll give you that. But at the same time, let me see. At the same time, we always dump into the halving, right?
Yeah, and that could really just be, if you're to pull up the one you just had there, Hagrid, with the band, like, man, that could be a move back down to 20 easy.
Here we go. I got you. Don't worry, fellas. I got it.
I got you.
Let's get rid of this volume. All right. So this is a gorgeous chart, as you can see, but I marked out all the halvings, right? I was doing this yesterday as we were talking to Koosh, and that's why I asked him about the dump into the halving deal. But green bars of the halving, these arrows are just kind of pointing out the dump before. Okay, so the first halving we dumped 42% right beforehand, 91 days before. The second one, 26%, 175 days before. 50%. I'm not even counting COVID here, right? Like we were already correcting before COVID.
We were already on the way to correction.
So 50% correction, 150 days before. All right. So kind of an average 160 days, 40-ish%, which basically takes us to that 19K wick. I'm pulling it from 20 or 35K though, because there's a few things. There's the CME gap, like Max has said, there's a monthly FVG. Also, if we zoom in here, I mean, this is 37K, 36K. Basically, this band is right there also, right? So you got a lot of confluence in the mid 30s. It would be the third drive. What do you do after a third drive? You drain. Maybe your ABC deal will. But look, yeah, 40% takes us back to the wick, and that would be in November. So I'm thinking we get, I mean, it just makes sense. Like we dump into the halving every time. It would track with the 1, 2, 3. It would track with the minor capitulation. It would track with history, the log regression bands. Take out that wick at 19K.
The markup markdown phase.
Yeah.
That's a typical phase.
Yeah, every time before the halving, you get one last chance to ape in, and then you basically go up only. So I'm thinking Q4 we get something. It might not be as dramatic. We might not get to 35K. We might not get all the way down to 19K, but I do expect to definitely be able to buy below 25 for sure. Like no doubt in my mind. So with that in mind, my bias remains kind of like
Okay, so you bring up the 25K. What would be your strategy then? If you're targeting 20, but you say you can definitely get to 25, what would be your strategy here?
right now, or like if we get that dump, or when we get
No,
the
no.
dump.
Once the retrace starts to happen, what would be a realistic strategy that anybody could use?
Yeah, I mean, if you take it as like it all depends of where we get to on the upside, right?
If somebody's looking for spot positions, we'll put it that way.
I mean, to be safe, I would scale in anything under this wick, probably just start DCAing in because I think you're going to get that opportunity. I would layer it heavier the lower you go, but I doubt we get back down to 16s. I mean, I would love it. I would very much enjoy buying down here again, but I don't know that
I
we
want to
get
comment
there.
on that quick. I think it, and I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this for the past week. I think if we go to 35 to 37K, I think the bottom is probably in. I think if this was just a predatory sweep of the previous high and we're actually not going to go on to mid 30s, then I think you could potentially take out that FTX low.
Yeah, I could see that. Like what I want to see, at least on like the daily, just some ranges mapped out. Um, like if we're gonna go higher, I'd probably want to see this first. I'd probably want to see like that, and then to 35, something like that.
I want to play devil's advocate to that. I think if we're gonna go to 35 and you want it to just be like a really powerful move, I don't think you want to retest. I literally think you want it to just take off.
Yeah, I mean, you'd want to, but like, okay, if we just kind of get rid of some of this, like, okay, wait, so let's just leave this one. So this is kind of an upper range. I mean, we're sweeping the mid and we're not getting over, okay? This range, we're sweeping the high and we're not getting over. So in both scenarios, like you have to get over like 31-1 on the at least the daily closing basis and go. I mean, I guess if you come back into here, you're probably looking at like maybe some ranging and then you could think about it. But like, yeah, if you want to just that would be obviously the most bullish scenario. But this is an area I feel like might need to. I mean, it would constitute that like perfect retest that we talk about. Like if you get it, you're probably wrong in the first place. So I don't know. That's what I mean. Like it's hard to read from here. Like my greatest conviction is that we'll get below here sometime in Q4, honestly. But what happens before then on like the daily is tough. Like if we get above here, I'm bullish. But right here, we're just kind of hanging out here. Like,
See,
we could
that's
easily
tough.
do
It's
that.
tough because it's like you have a very clearly drawn range and we're sitting up against range highs. Like, do you want to try to long into resistance? That's up to the individual, of course. But I also want to point one thing out. Sitting there and pressing up against resistance is innately bullish. Like if can you invert that chart, Tucker? If it was
Yeah.
if we dumped and we were just sitting on support, not bouncing, we'd be like the floor is going to give out. Holy crap, you know.
But that's where everybody was at when we went to 25K, right? Because we kept testing the floor, and everybody was like, "Oh, we're gonna go deeper. We're gonna go deeper," and we did, right? We went down to 25K from like 30, and that was because we were testing the lows. But now we're testing the highs. So I definitely agree with that, Max.
Yeah, but what do we think about what happened over here?
I mean, there's going to be predatory moves before the actual move. It's always a thing, right? And those are what we call shakeouts, because the trend has just been too bullish in my perspective to say that those predatory moves aren't predatory moves to shake out as many people up here while we're testing to get those longs out of positions so they feel uncomfortable with longs and then push long.
So
Yeah.
let me ask this. I want to frame this for you guys. Do equities need to rip in order for Bitcoin to get above 32K? Or can they
No,
trade independently of one another?
I think so. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen Bitcoin rip. I was drawing out this correlation actually yesterday when we were talking to Kush. It was like, it was basically just like 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, and it's been like decoupled, right? Which is a meme, but I mean, it has been trading independently. So no, I don't think equities need to rip, but I think you're gonna have a tougher time if equities start nuking for sure. I don't think you can probably get to 35.
Equities need to hold. I agree.
Yeah, they
That's
need to
that's
hold.
definitely.
I don't think they need to rip, but uh, yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, it looks a little bit similar to this, but at the same time, it doesn't really look like a top. Like we didn't get, it doesn't
Tucker,
quite
you
look
know
like
where
a
I think we are, man, is you have your mid-range low. See that mid-range low? Right before the first tag of 31K that we had. You can, yeah, so just to the left. Our first tag of 31K to the left. Go left of that.
that.
Nope, sorry. Like literally just to the left of that like move. Up a little bit. Yep, right there. I think we're in that consolidation and we're going to put in like a deviation to like 32.5, 33. Like, can you draw a fractal there? Like, drop that in there, man.
But should I just uninvert?
Nah, keep it. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah, if you could draw.
You talking about right here?
Yeah. I think that's where we are. Like,
Yeah.
we're consolidating right there. It's just it's going to be a lot of chop, and then we're going to get a big move, and then that's going to be your top. How high it goes, I don't know. Maybe it goes 35, like Will said. Maybe it goes 32. I don't know, but I'm thinking we get like one more just stupid pump up just like that. That's your
I like
liquidity
that.
grab. That's your trap. And then we can talk about going back down a little bit. Because I think we are. I mean, this is not the place to position, in my opinion, for like the golden bull market. I had a tweet about this. I don't think this is the best place to position long term yet. Like I think you're going to get some cheaper prices over the next 6 months. But in the short term, it's like that's still a big move. If we went to 33K, we're at 30K right now. I mean that's no joke. So I think we're pushing up against range highs. I think there's a lot of confluence right above our previous range high. It's not going to be easy. Like I think this is that point in the market where you just get shaken out. Like they're trying to shake you out on a low time frame. Every single move towards the range lows, everybody's going to aggressively short into it, thinking we're going to Bart Simpson. And on the other side of the coin, no pun intended, every time we press up against the local low time frame range high, people go, oh, here's the breakout, here's the breakout. And most people are going to get shaken out before anything happens. And it's tough. This is a tough market to just sit on your hands and wait. Definitely tough. And for me, I'm sitting in profit on some longs right now. And it's like, I don't feel great about holding them. Like, I'm wanting to get out of them, truthfully. I'm like, it looks weak, it looks choppy, but I have to just recognize that to me, it seems more likely than not that we're just going to chop here for a little bit, truthfully.
Yeah, this is your bull market VPVR fixed range volume profile, and we're really just sitting on top of it, which is kind of
Yep.
bullish, in my opinion. Like,
Yep.
look at that. I mean, this is a very key level for sure.
Can you go to your settings on your volume profile? I want to see what you have for your. Go to 70. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if you had 68 or I know some people use 68, some use 70.
Well, wait, I wanted to ask Tommy about this. He uses 24, and I don't. Why do you use 24, Tommy?
The place to bring it up on stream.
I
No,
mean,
that's a good question, man. I hadn't looked at my inputs in a minute, man. To be honest, I have to look.
I was trying to play around with like different row sizes and whatnot, and it doesn't make a huge difference, but
I think it's just like I don't need it to be as granular, so I'll set it on like a lower number.
yeah.
Dude, I use as much as I possibly can. I want it to be as granular as possible.
What do you use? Ooh,
Even
yeah.
more,
See,
man.
this looks. I like the way this looks better at a higher number.
Yeah, I like to get down in the weeds, man. I like to see it all.
Yours at like 1,000.
Nah, I mean, it gets a little bit like too much. I mean, it's fine on the high time frame, but yeah, I mean, I like as much as I possibly can.
Let
Yeah.
me let me ask you guys a question. What's your thoughts on people that buy assets and then leverage those assets for loans?
I need more
Deploy
context
that.
than that because you could be
Yeah.
talking about real estate or something, which,
I'm talking about in crypto.
Talking about bored apes.
But we can go the NFT route. We can go the NFT route.
Better
So
be sure that your collateral is not going to be super volatile.
Yeah.
what are my thoughts on people that purchase digital assets then borrow against them? Um, I mean, I do it, but I'd say most people should probably stay away from it. And I think that a lot of people that understand the mechanics of lending, like even to a degree where I'd go as far to say most probably don't even understand how like a home mortgage works or like even what like a line of credit entails. So let alone collateralizing volatile digital assets for variable interest rate debt often. Most people are not equipped to handle that, and you might as well just margin trade. So yeah, I mean I think it's extremely accessible, but don't let the accessibility of it trick you into thinking that people that are using it understand what they're doing, because I think that most don't. So
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think most people that probably leverage in the space probably don't even read the contract that they're signing. That their position could be under a leverage position, which means if, their price of their asset goes under a certain point, they get liquidated and that asset gets taken. And I think a lot of people do that to kind of collateralize on their collateral, on their collateral, on their collateral, and think they're operating like how the US does with credit, right? But it's really not the same thing. There's good potential to have your assets taken. I think there's high risk in those scenarios in crypto, especially with the volatility of the price. I thought that was something interesting. I was just thinking about it earlier, and I was just like, man, I was like, there's probably going to be a lot of people. Bitcoin goes back to 20K. That's going to get their assets completely wrecked, and then they're going to get probably liquidated on loans that they're taking right now.
dude, it's the same thing over and over again. Like I think we will have diminished volatility as the asset class matures, but something I was thinking about is now that, people are building on Bitcoin, we're going to have like Bitcoin DeFi next cycle. That's going to be a big thing. And it's going to be absolutely epic during the bull market, and I plan to absolutely use it. And I think one of the better plays next cycle is going to be just buying replicas, BRC20 replicas of like your favorite altcoins from previous cycles, but built on Bitcoin. And, part of that is going to, again, be like decentralized lending protocols built on Bitcoin. And it's going to be exploited to move coins from, educated hands to less educated hands. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I just think it's another vehicle to take money from people that inherently take on too much risk without doing enough due diligence, certainly. So I love DeFi. I think it's absolutely, I think DeFi is one of the more revolutionary and disruptive technologies that I think will stand the test of time. Um, but the unfortunate truth is DeFi in its existing, in the state that it exists right now is not sustainable at all. Because what you're doing is, I mean, you're taking an extremely volatile asset class and collateralizing it against, yes, some variable rate, but oftentimes fixed rate debt. And the problem is the assets are just too volatile. I think maybe a solution to it, and I texted you guys about this a while ago, there needs to be some sort of like, for the more sophisticated money out there that actually wants to like trade and use DeFi to, trade, or then either, pull out money to pay for expenses in their life. There needs to be some sort of exchange component built into it, and not just a spot exchange like AAVE offers, where you could swap your collateral in real time, from like volatile assets to stables if necessary, but like an actual derivatives based exchange built into the lending protocol. So, for example, if you have 10 Bitcoin issued as collateral, or 10 wrapped Bitcoin as collateral, in real time, you could open up a 10 BTC short using the same collateral, and effectively in the short term, while paying funding, create a synthetic stable coin. And those profits would basically just go towards issuing your, additional collateral for your loan that's potentially underwater in the event of some sort of spot cascade. So I just think that there's a lot of improvements that need to be made to DeFi, but I absolutely love it. I mean, in the bull market, it's amazing. Like, I remember riding Ethereum from, I mean, dude, when I first started putting money in Aave, it was like $1,500 to $1,800 or something like that, and then Ethereum's up to 3,000, and I'm pulling out, stable coins. I'm pulling out debt, which again, if you pull out debt and you borrow $100,000 against your Ethereum that's gone up 100%, you don't have to pay capital gains tax on debt. Like, that is a loan. Loans are not taxable income. So it's like, it's brilliant if your assets are appreciating rapidly and you have access to debt extremely easily, like a line of credit. It's brilliant because you don't have to sell your assets. You can just pull it out. You don't have any taxable liabilities. And you can continue to hold your assets. When it stops working, of course, is when, Ethereum goes from 3,000 to 800 in a matter of like 45 days. So it's just, I think DeFi is brilliant. I love it. I plan to continue to use it, but I mean, it's predatory, man. It's just another way for, really smart money to take money at opportune times from less educated money. So anyways, really
Yeah.
long-winded way, but I absolutely love DeFi. I hope that people begin to sort of incorporate it and tweak it, and you can have Bitcoin DeFi so that you never have to sell your Bitcoin. That's a paradigm that I would absolutely be in favor of, is truly never selling your Bitcoin, and it's it's going to be backed by, passive flows through a spot ETF. And, just like the stock market, we might have 20-25% dips on a down year, but we're not going to have an 80% cascade anymore because the asset class has matured. So, the ideal sort of utopia with Bitcoin is it's going to continue to appreciate against the dollar as it bleeds into perpetuity forever. And your Bitcoin just over a decade is just up, straight up in a straight line like the S&P 500, and you can just, in a decentralized fashion, without any real counterparty risk, just pull out fixed or variable rate debt on sort of a peer-to-peer marketplace. That would be great to never have to like take the risk of, for one, selling your Bitcoin, or having a counterparty like a BlockFi. Look what happened with BlockFi, right? They offered lending against your Bitcoin. Look what happened. You took on a counterparty risk. So there needs to be improvements, but yeah, big fans of borrowing against digital assets if you know what you're doing.
I completely agree with that, Max. I think that's something that's not talked about enough in this space, is that the inherent risk that a lot of people put themselves in. And I would consider a lot of people in the space probably are, like a credit card, maxing out their credit cards, right? They've maxed out their line of credit, credit on credit on credit, and there's a good chance they're going to liquidate everything they have by doing that. Yeah, and like you said, in a highly liquid market, those things work. In a highly illiquid market, they're very high risk.
Tucker, what do you got going on there, man? That's a big hammer.
It could be bigger. It could be bigger, man.
It could be big.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, I was just looking at some lower time frame stuff.
All right, Capo, calm down.
Yeah.
Capo would have the hammer up here looking for.
Dude, I want to just say something about that, man. All he had to do was just go, damn, I was wrong. All right, back to the drawing board like 3 months ago. And then he could just be on with his life. Like, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing, man.
I don't know. He's done. He's like still short and strong. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're liquidated, brother.
Yeah, if he's been shorting the whole way, he doesn't have any portfolio left.
Bro.
Unless he's been shorting with like 1% at a time.
If he was short from 16K, I mean, you're done, right? Like you couldn't even be on 1.5x and you'd still be done.
Yeah. I mean, I was super bearish in January, but like, I think I had a reasonable reason to be, but I was able to move with the market eventually once I kind of saw the way things were going. And that's what a good trader will always do. A good trader has no problem flipping their bias because they're here making money.
Bro, I flipped
Right?
so quick, man. Like that's what people don't understand about traders is like I could be super bowled up 1 minute and literally
Yep.
like 60 seconds later be like net worth short on everything. Like things change so quickly in this asset class, man. I was longing the crap out of Bitcoin at 20K, 20 to like 21K before the FTX drop. FTX starts happening, dude. I flipped like 2x net worth short immediately as it was imploding. Flipped from like super net long to super net short, made money on that drop, and then rode it all the way back up. You have to be able to pivot so quickly. And that's why I think that like smaller guys like us have such an advantage over institutions because we're able to do that. Like I can take my entire portfolio and flip net long and net short in 30 seconds. Institutions can't do that. That's why you have guys that trade $1 million to $10 million books for themselves that make 100% a year. And institutions, they just can't navigate that quickly. So
They typically have to defend themselves and or buy down to get out of a position, right? And then hope for the bounce eventually to get out.
yeah.
It's pretty interesting. A lot of people in the space, they don't understand the aspect of switching between the moves.
Wow, man.
I was in a spaces, I think like a week ago when we were sitting at 24.8. We dipped right in at 24.8. Everybody in there was like, "Oh, it's over." I'm like, "Bro, we're going up from here." I'm like, "Watch." And lo and behold, so that 30K hit 31.
And hey, I'd like to request a quick favor from the audience. If you guys are in here and you're enjoying the content so far, please smash that thumbs up for us. Apparently, it does wonders for the algorithm. We're at 9 likes right now. We got 25 people watching live. It would be epic if we could get 20 likes, so 11 more. We'll see if we overshoot that or undershoot that. I think 20 is a realistic goal. So if you guys could do me that favor, if you are enjoying listening, just take 1 second and hit that thumbs up for us. Be greatly appreciated. And thanks for being here. Tommy, talk to me, man. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to deal with a transaction on my MetaMask that's like kind of stuck. So I'm just annoyed by that at the moment. As far as crypto goes, or just in general, I mean, for Bitcoin, I still would really love to. I mean, you can almost kind of see like some triangle forming up here. And the way I feel about triangles is that you typically fake a reaction to one way and then you get the real move in the other direction. And so I kind of feel like they're going to fake it out to the downside and then go for the yearly highs again. I've been saying I don't think that and anybody who is short with a stop above the current high, I don't think that's a safe short personally. If you set a really wide stop, maybe maybe you bank on the fact that we're just going to SFP the high and, you know, you can ride that short at the bottom. That's personally not how I'm looking to play it, but yeah, no, I don't think I would be that comfy if I were a bear, even though I'm very skeptical about how the move itself was, you know, how it kind of transpired.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, I like that right there. I mean, look, we're just consolidating. You know, like it's like I started off with. This is that point in the market where I think it just becomes increasingly more difficult to just stay positioned here. It's just difficult. Oh wow, Tucker, that's
Quite the bull flag, huh?
That's what we're gonna see, bro.
yeah,
We're
wow,
gonna see.
that's some very advanced TA right there. That was
There it is.
Hey guys, we need 3 more likes, please. We're at 17. The goal was 20. We gotta run the stops at 20 likes, guys.
Need a deeper pullback, Tucker. Deeper pullback.
Okay,
Run
okay.
with the triangle stops.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Ugh,
Okay, I mean,
ugh.
that's
I don't
too
want to
deep.
see that. I don't want to see that.
You talking
That's
about
a
this
little too
way?
deep.
Maybe.
That was what I was saying. That'd probably be the deep end, right? 29.5 is kind of where your deep end is. You retest the low, double top, double bottom, bounce up.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
where's
don't think you want us going lower than like 29.8, 29.9, truthfully. Like
you don't want to get that.
29.5 will be all right. We'll be all right. Just move out quickly.
I
Out of
yeah,
that
I
zone.
actually do agree. Like there's a daily FVG there, Tucker, at 29.5.
Yeah.
And there's confluence with like a daily breaker as well from that was set, back in like May. But if we did like wick down there, I'd literally want it to be like stable coin FUD and then we just like suck right back up or something. Like I would not want to see us down there for too long.
Yeah, it'd have to be a wick.
Yeah.
The good thing is here is like if you go back below 30K, everybody reopens their shorts. You know where that goes.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like I will say I have a lot less confidence than I did last week or even 2 weeks ago that we can trade 34, 35K. I felt like it would have happened very quickly and or it was caused by people who were not Michael Saylor. So
Do you think that pump was all Michael Saylor?
I mean, shorts closing, absolutely. You know, I mean, you saw a mass like rebalancing and I'm sure Bitfinex had a lot. I mean, Bitfinex was very, very long. And they have been long all June. I'm very interested to see what that looks like after you see this huge expiration date, I think, on futures contracts for this quarter within the next few days. If there's any OI that comes off of Bitfinex, I'm going to be paying attention to it.
So what you're saying is Michael Saylor called Bitfinex, told them that he was going to max bid, and then Bitfinex went all in on longs.
Hey, Sailor and Bitfinex, man, they're ahead of the game, I guess.
Oh,
What do you think
they're
about it?
colluding, huh?
Huh?
It's a market with a lot of insider trading, so you can't really rule anything out.
It would be the same thing for ETH right there. Just be that double bottom 1832, maybe a little bit lower. We'll probably get a bullish div on that.
I mean,
And then
you got to reclaim like 1870 pretty quick. I would think.
well,
No.
if you get to 35, you're going to distribute, right? And then alts are going to run, and that's going to be your end of move right there. Once the alts start moving, like you better already have your positions in place because you don't want to chase up there.
Hey guys, we got to talk about something right now. I can't believe we haven't talked about it yet. Today is the first day that the 2x leverage BTC ETF is trading. Ticker is BITX. We got to look at that. You're going to have to go to the 1 minute. This is the first leveraged Bitcoin ETF here in the US trading today.
I've made a comment about these ETFs. I mean, like the futures ETFs are never really that bullish. You know, look at when the first Bitcoin futures ETF on CME launched. It was right at the top in 2018. look at, when the ETH CME launched, it was right at the top of the merge bump. So typically I don't really view it as a bullish thing. That the futures instruments are kind of, being pushed out, because as we know, futures and shorts are a great tool for hedging, as much as they are for directional betting, which, crypto people, when they trade futures, it's all almost like exclusively directional betting. But, much more sophisticated TradFi players will hedge their holdings, through these, because it's a very liquid way to do so.
Yeah, I think I remember actually. Which one marked the actual like Pico top, Tommy? I remember there was one,
Was it BITO?
maybe. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I do think you're right, Tommy. Historically, it hasn't been that great of a signal. It hasn't been that bullish.
It looks like it's tracking it pretty well though.
Yeah.
It'll be
Anything
interesting to see if
non-spot, the market doesn't care.
it'll be interesting to see if there's any like short-term ARB opportunities with it. But I mean, you're gonna have to let more price action develop with it to really make that determination.
I think ARC's gonna break out. I 100% think ARC's gonna break out.
Well, as a shareholder of ARK, I'm happy to hear that.
Pull up ARC there.
2x levered or 3?
It should be 2.
Oh, it's looking like it's 3 right now.
Is it 3? I thought I read that it was 2.
No, I'm just saying like the percentage. It's almost 3x right here.
Yeah, it says it's 2 times Bitcoin strategy ETF. It
What an
saw
art, Will.
4.2 million in trading volume the first
Yep.
day. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it saw 4.2 million in trading the first day. BITO saw about $1 billion in trading volume on its first day. So not that successful of a launch, or clearly not that much appetite for 2 times leverage risk in Bitcoin futures trading. Shocker.
Shocker. Yeah.
Shocker.
What did you want to see with ARC, Will?
No, I was saying just look at it. It's about to break that first high, and then once it breaks that, I mean, there's nothing but air to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's looking good. It's looking good.
I mean, ARK really does look like, it looks like one of those altcoins that's just been like completely floored for months, and it's just waiting for something to make it pop. But I mean, look, there's a lot of really solid companies in ARK, but there's also a lot of companies that deserve zero, unfortunately. And also, like, the truth is, you'd probably be better off just buying like Tesla and Zoom at opportune times than holding ARK. I'm holding ARK. I am an ARK shareholder because I bought the floor there, that concrete wall that Tucker has drawn. But like, I think it's a good buy. It's just like, I don't know if it's actually going to go back and make an all-time high, truthfully. Like, I'm not so confident that ARK's going to see all-time highs again. But I think a company like Tesla could make an all-time high again, or potentially, I don't know, maybe Zoom. We'll see. I like a lot of the individual companies more than the basket, but I mean, it looks completely floored. Like, I don't think anybody's down here eagerly selling into $35. So
I like the fractal. I like the fractal.
I like that fractal a lot too, actually.
Yeah. I think ARC may see all-time highs, but it's gonna be like way later. Right? Like maybe some years.
What would that put a nice bottom at? February?
Bro, OXY is coming back to support. I'm just letting you know.
Who? Oxy?
Yeah. Or OX, sorry. OX is going back to
OX fired into a very critical level. Like, OX, like, this is that point where if you want the parabola and the vertical accumulation to continue, it's right here. Like, this
see
is
where
the
you got that
spot.
ceiling right there? That's where it's going back to.
This is the Haggard candle right here.
Tucker's single-handedly propping up OX right now. He won't let it fall, guys.
Yeah.
I agree, Kendall. The market maker.
Yeah. Looks pretty floored there, Will. What do you say?
Nah, it's coming down more.
Oh man, I did it, guys. I unstuck my wallet. I was kind of panicking about that. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you not use enough gas or something?
It stuck the like 2 transactions in my MetaMask, and they were both just perpetually pending, and I couldn't do anything to speed them up or cancel them with any gas. So they were just like stuck. And I had to figure out I mean it really wasn't that hard. Just like I had to do the whole like advanced the transaction nonsense and stuff like that. I didn't even know I could do that, but
You just reset the wallet when that happens.
oh, I mean, I reset the wallet. It didn't like because the transactions were still there. I had to like because like the transactions obviously can only happen in a queue. So I had to like kind of resubmit the transaction under the exact same transaction nonce with more gas, and it basically like voided the other ones. So
Gotcha.
That's happened to
Front
me,
ran it
man.
more or
It's
less.
it's
Yeah.
stressful, man. I've had an ETH transaction get stuck for like 8 hours, and I had to watch. It's so funny when you have like a very specific problem. You can just go on YouTube and like some guy from another country gives you like the exact step-by-step solution to your like very niche problem. But I've had to do it. It's definitely annoying. But guys, we are getting into time here, so we're probably gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna. What's that?
Before we wrap it,
Yeah.
could you do one more chart real quick?
Guys, I was just kidding. We are actually not going to wrap it. We are going to go back to Dr. Outlook, and he's going to show us a chart.
Go ahead and pull up ELF.
Oh.
We're gonna pull this up every single day.
Dude. Will. You gotta buy it if you're gonna keep talking about it.
I want to. I can't.
Will,
I
if you had
can't
just
buy
bought
it.
if you had just bought that when you first started talking about it, you'd be in retirement right now.
Look, I bought it at 48. I cannot bring myself to buy it again. I can't justify it.
Yeah, that's tough to buy up there, man. That's
Put it on the monthly.
you will eventually. It's going to give a really nice correction within that trend.
Look at this on the monthly.
You hope.
Yeah. What is it up? 4x.
Like, where is the correction here?
dude, that's one of those where like I want to kind of just sit on the sidelines and watch it. Like I don't even know unless you're low time frame like scalping it because it's a really solid trend. You can't invest in something up there. Not like that, man. That's
You can't.
You could trade it though. Like you could trade a little pullback and like I bet if you put like a 8 to 12 candle MA on there, it's just perfect bounces every time. I don't know which one, but it's like you could scalp that all day long. Yeah, see, exactly. You just play that trend right there. Yep, beautiful. I kind of like the band, Tucker, like all of them. Whenever it fires into there.
Look at that! Look at that expansion, though. It's insane, man.
Yeah, you buy between the orange and the green. That's kind of how you have to play something that's trending that hard. You can't actually invest in it up there.
I think you just play the orange.
Play the orange guy. Any deviation
I like how you
below
brought
the
that up
orange.
too.
Any deviation below the orange.
EMAs, man, you can't use them as support and resistance. You just got to use them as like visualizations for the trend.
Tommy, I have to say, man, I have used them as support and resistance a few times.
It's such a pet peeve, and you know it is.
I know it is, but dude, it's work, man. Like, how do you explain Bitcoin bouncing off of like the 200-day SMA, like perfectly bottoming or something like that? I mean, it does work sometimes. You know, it's not supposed to be used like that, but it kind of does.
It can act like support and resistance, but it's not really support and resistance. I'll give you a pass this one time.
Oh, you know what? All right, we're gonna have an hour-long debate about what is support and resistance and what isn't. That looks nice, Tucker. But yeah, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. We're getting into time. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Very much appreciate your guys' support. Thanks for getting us to 20 likes as well. Oh, we got 22 likes. So thank you guys for that. I'm happy that we ran those stops at 20 likes. So now we're deviating above our range high of 20. So thank you guys for that. If you are not subscribed yet and you enjoy the content, we run this show every single day. This is Market Check. My name is Max. We're joined by Tommy, Tucker, and Will, or Dr. Outlook as I call him, who's not to be faded. Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. And we will see you guys same time tomorrow. Guys, thanks and take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.